You're listening to Teacakes on the Sis podcast, sharing little bites of life. Hey y'all, assalamu alaikum, it's Sister Hoff. So I grew up with a crunchy mom. So a lot of people make fun of crunchy people. If you don't know what that means, crunchy is like a modern term of the old term, which was granola, and the old term of that was like hippie. So really people who are more focused on trying to be more natural, more holistic. There's different degrees of it. So, Emily Morrow from Really Very Crunchy, she wrote a book and it's adorable. I love it. It's great, very informative. And she says that crunchy is like a spectrum. So really people will be on all different levels of it. So when I was young, my mom was pretty crunchy. I mean, she was up there. She was not anti-vax because there are some who are anti-vax, but there's some non-crunchy people who are that way because my dad's a pediatrician. So, but she definitely was we grew a lot of our own vegetables and she grew them organically. We did not have farm animals. She really wanted chickens that they never got around to it, or my dad just kept being like, no, I don't know. We did have a homestead. We lived in the middle of nowhere, and she did that for 7 years, and then she was like, I'm done. I'm done with this big house. I'm done with the homesteading. All right, we're changing, we're moving. And so we moved into still rural but suburbs. So kind of that mix between rural and suburbs, 20 minutes from the Atlanta airport. So really not far from urban, but enough in the edge of the suburbs. It was rural. Anyway, they still have a garden, but it's much smaller. She doesn't do as much of the canning. She slacked off, I guess as, more kids got up through the house because she had 5 kids and it got exhausting. Eventually it was fine, I'll buy Hot Pockets and we can microwave our food. We'll do microwave popcorn every once in a while instead of the air popper. Okay, fine. Your dad can bring his Pop Tarts out of the closet because my dad had to eat his Pop Tarts in secret because she would snatch them and be like, no, there's processed sugar. I didn't eat processed sugar as a kid. I did not. And the first time I had Lucky Charms cereal, I was at my cousin's house. It was insane. And I got a migraine because I had never really had processed sugar. So I would get sick as a kid if I ate these things because our mom didn't, we didn't eat white bread. We had to make a lot of stuff from scratch. This is how it was. Half the time our bread was made from scratch. She would kick us out of the house when she made bread though because I mean, we're kids. We jump down the stairs, run across the house, and when you're causing a lot of shaking and stuff, it can affect the growth and development of yeast and actually make your bread fall. So if you ever want to get into baking bread from scratch, hit me up. I could talk to you about that because I do it now. But no be stomping around the house, and put it in a nice space where it won't be disturbed during the rising process. So anyway, my full circle story is, my mom slacked off more. She's still a little bit crunchy, not as much as she was when I was young, but as I got older and when I became a high schooler and started going to my friend's house more, eating different kinds of foods, and then when I first moved out of the house, I was 19, 20, and learning to cook for myself and eating so much junk and so much crap, and I was sick all the time. All the time. But I just was well, this is life. So it took me a long time to start to want to prioritize my health. And it started with my physical health. I will tell you that. My mental health was crap. I'm not gonna lie. That's a harsh way of saying it, but it was. So I started working on my physical health, and then it made it easier to tackle my mental health. So I'm not saying you have to be crunchy. I love being crunchy. I am. There's still a degree. There's a lot of things I want to work on and be more crunchy. It's goals that I have. Uh, Not too extreme, I guess. Well, it depends on what your version of extreme is, because some people think I dress extremely, and I'm I don't think this is extreme at all. I mean, this is America. I dress how I want. Nobody gonna tell me what I can and can't do, what I can and can't wear. Anyway, I can be crunchy, and I am crunchy, and I see how much it affects my health. And when I slack off, if I'm sometimes I go out to eat, yeah, but I don't like to because I get sick if I do it a bunch. And especially I'm picky about what restaurants I go to and what food that I am eating. I have my particular ones. They're usually Asian restaurants. And Sliver Diner, if you live up in the Eastern regions, there's Silver Diner. It's great, although there's like three things on the menu I actually order, and that's like my treat place. Like where I go, that's my junk food because my body responds much better. Like I'm taking care of my body because when my physical health is better, my mental health is better. Like it's so much easier because I don't feel like doo doo all the time, you know? So I've come to like really appreciate how my mom raised me and having that like not having food dyes like or minimal food dyes, not having processed sugar and stuff like that as a kid. And we were really focused on like spiritual health. So my parents, when we were young, they didn't really understand mental health. That really wasn't a thing back then. It is like much more focused now, but we'd really focus on our spiritual health. And that did have a lot to do with your mental health and prioritizing, processing things. And we had a lot to work with emotions. I mean, I'm not going to get into that and learning how to emotionally regulate because I was not good at that as a kid. Don't don't want to say it has anything to do with my parents. It's just I had a lot. I also had some mental health issues that were not diagnosed until I was an adult. But that's very common because people just don't think about it or they're just like kind of pushed to the side about getting diagnosis. I think everybody has something and a lot of people are afraid of diagnosis of something. Don't be afraid of it. Just there's care. Like don't think you have to take medicine. Like obviously, like I cried when my doctor told me I had to take medicine, but it was like I needed it, you know, for managing whatever it is. And sometimes like there's medications that are temporary just as you work through things and try to improve your health. So don't be like afraid to try different things. Don't be afraid to, hey, let me not do food dye. That's my big one. And there's so much like scientific research backing on this. Like, do not get on the bandwagon. Like, don't come at me about what vaccines do. Don't come at me about certain supplements or whatever. But you can come at me and I will come at you about the food dye and how it affects children's mood. And me as a grown adult, like Red 40, like the hyperactivity and like I go crazy. I get like heart palpitations. I have one brother, he gets like angry if he consumes Red 40. Another one, like, I mean, he already talks a lot, but like, it's insane. Like, he just gets so hyper. And then, my other brother also gets hyper. I think my sister has reactions too, but she doesn't say nothing. But most people I know, they don't realize the reaction we're having when you take these things out of your life, right? I'm not saying you're trying to be crunchy, but when you remove things from your life, you don't realize that they're toxic. That's food. Maybe it's a type of toothpaste you're using. The size of the shoes that you're wearing, they may not be the right fit of shoes. I recently got shoes that have a wide toe box, and I was like, wow, you can actually walk a mile without having sore feet. That's incredible. It might be relationships that you just don't want to cut them out. But when you do, you're like, wow, my life has actually improved for the better. And I mean, there's a gentle way to go about it without like hurting other people in the process, but putting your own health, right? And really, like, I learned so much of that. And I'm seeing it as an adult now. I learned that through my mother, being a crunchy mom, living the crunchy lifestyle. And so my goal is to be not as crunchy as possible, but I have like the kind of way I want to be crunchy, not just because of like how I eat or like you have to dress a certain kind of way or whatever. Like you have to use this kind of fabric. I mean, use your own, research and study and decide what you feel comfortable like wearing and what kind of bed sheets you want. Like whatever. That's for you to decide for your own. But focusing the whole like idea of focusing on your health from a holistic perspective. I mean, that's why I have the blog Holistic Hijabi Hoff. It's body, mind, soul, like everything is connected. Taking care of your body and being like it's being more conscious. When I have to go to the store and think, okay, is this the brand of potato chips with these ingredients? Is this something that I want to put in my body? Is this going to be supportive of my health? Or is this going to cause me to feel sick and thus affecting my mental health and my ability to process and regulate emotions? So this is just little thoughts to put in your mind. And thank my mom for being crunchy and do your own, like, do a little research on it, learning, you might find certain things in life you're like, oh, I think I want to try that. You don't have to label it, you don't have to identify as anything, when it comes to like lifestyle like that, but just focus on yourself, on improving your health, mentally and physically and spiritually, doing your research on those things and not like avoiding it because there's like hashtag crunchy life or whatever, or because you don't want to be identified to a certain category of people, whatever. Like, just do you. Like, do your own health, focus on your own health, and do your own research. I hope y'all have gained something from this, inshallah. And until next time, assalamu alaikum.